My first Tai Chi teacher's nickname was Old Ramrod because his posture was so perfectly straight. You know, they said that his posture was the thing that allowed him to channel his chi, his inner life energy, and use it to defeat hundreds of opponents in his long career as a kung fu fighter in China. Hi, I'm David-Dorian Ross. Welcome to the Cherry Blossom Studios. Today is day number 21 of 100 Days of Tai Chi. Today we've got a pretty short lesson because the new movement is another repeat of a movement we've already done. But then after that lesson, I'm going to teach you about what my first Tai Chi teacher taught me about Tai Chi posture. And all that's coming up right after this. Okay, can I have a little drum roll, please, while I tell you that the new movement today is called brush knee and a twist step. I don't know how many this makes, like 10, but we've done this a lot. So let me just run through this one more time so that we can review it. And maybe you have just tuned in to this series and this is the first one you've seen. So let me demonstrate it first, then we'll break it down, and then we'll go on from there. So we're starting from the end of crane spreads wings. There it is, one simple step, going from an empty step into a bow step. Let me do the footwork facing you, and as always, I am going to flip the video right now so that you can follow along in mirror image. We're coming from an empty step in crane spreads wings and stepping forward into a bow step. Now we're stepping pretty directly forward. So we are following what we call a lane of travel that's going, traditionally we call it from east to west. And so we're facing east, which is to the left of your open the door position. If this was open the door, then this would be east, and you're just following down that direction. So we're going further down. From this empty step, we step farther to create a bow step. All right, one more time. Let me just do that, back up a little bit here. From an empty step, farther into a bow step. Beautiful. Now don't forget that the empty step into a bow step opens up the channel between the feet. So we start pretty narrow and end relatively wide, about hip width wide, right? We're also doubling the length of the movement from about shoulder width here in your empty step to about double shoulder width here in the bow step, the Tai Chi lunge, right? There's your footwork. Now, we also have body work because in the crane spreads wings position, we are fairly squared off, but then as we step out, the body angles, the body rotates to the right about 45 degrees. And then as the center of gravity shifts forward into your lunge, it rotates again to square off the hips. So, crane spreads wings, the body rotates as you wind up, take your step out, and then the body rotates to square off the hips. That's the twisted step. Now here's what the hands do, because the body drives the motion of the hand. So we're starting off in the crane spreads wings position. The top hand here, the right hand, drops and falls and arcs out to the side. Now it doesn't move independently, it's driven by the waist turn, so the waist turns to the right and that's what carries the arm over to the side. At the same time, that waist turn to the right carries the left hand, which started down here below, across the chest. So we have the two things happening together. Then the right elbow melts down, and as the waist turns back to the left, two things happen. Number one is that the left hand skims across above the knee and returns to the hip, while the right hand first follows and rides along the body turn, and at the very end there's an additional tiny push, winding up in a curved arm at the end of brush knee. Right? So here's how it works all together. From crane spreads wings, arcing to the right, melting that elbow down, step out, skim along, and there's your push. one more angle. How about going this direction? Crane spreads wings. There you go. Beautiful. Today's question of the day comes all the way from Israel, where Hadassah Rose has been watching this series and gave me a question about Tai Chi posture. So they'd like to learn more about the Tai Chi posture, particularly the shoulders and the tailbone. So it inspired me to want to talk about this wonderful posture that my first teacher taught me about. And then, every teacher that I've had adds a little bit more to the instruction, adds a little piece to the puzzle of this powerful thing we call Tai Chi posture or Tai Chi alignment. So here's what my first teacher taught me. He said, first of all, the head floats up. Now, this is actually a principle that we call Shu Ling Ding Jin, which means that there's a light and sensitive and alert energy in the head, and then energy will come out the top. So you want to have this sort of light floating head here. And then he said the rest of the body gets heavy below it. So the head's trying to float up and the rest of the body is sinking down underneath. Now there's a little bit more to that going on because there's more detail about what goes on underneath here, in particular around the joint of the hips and the position of the pelvis, right? I'm going to touch lightly on that today, but we'll add more about it in future lessons, I promise. So while the head's floating up here, Shu Ling Ding Jin, right? Light sensitive top of the head, the hips slightly fold in like you're going to sit down in a chair, make a lap here. The small of the back expands, pushing outward. Here is a little exercise you could do right there at home. You could stand up against a wall, and put your hand between the wall and your back, right there in that arch of the back, that rounded space there. And then expand that low back until you can feel your hand being squeezed against the wall. Now, be careful. It's not just about pushing back with your heels. It's really about getting these muscles in the low back to release and push through. And when those muscles release, what you feel is that this whole pelvic area sort of rotates and drops down, which gives you this feeling that your tailbone has moved. Now, here is the caution, because a lot of Tai Chi players mistakenly assume that what you're supposed to do is tuck the tailbone under. Be careful. Don't move the tailbone by bending your hips here. Don't try to tuck under at all. That will only engage a bunch of muscles here and create more tension. Instead, what you want to do is release that low back. And through practice, releasing that low back, you'll find that these hips sort of naturally and organically, if you will, rotate down, and then the tailbone feels like it's dropping into a particular place. Very, very vertical like that. And that's the secret. But I'll add more to it as we go along. For now, here's how we used to practice. This was Sifu's favorite practice. We call it standing like a tree, with the roots in the ground and the branches reaching out. The head floats up, the body is heavy, the tongue at the roof of the mouth, and I'll see you in an hour. No, I won't. That's what Sifu used to say to me. Get me into this position, then walk away. He says, stay there. If you're still there in an hour, you'll be doing good. Well, tomorrow, if you're still there, we'll learn another lesson, and we'll talk about actually, we won't talk about a question of the day tomorrow, because tomorrow we have the weekly roundup of all the movements. So that's what's coming up tomorrow. But in the meantime, if you have a question like Hadassah about anything, about posture, about energy, about anything at all, please write it in the comment section below. If you have not already subscribed, please, please, please hit that subscribe button right now and the little bell right next to it, which will notify you about new videos that are posted. And by the way, I just want to let you know that I have new videos coming that are not just part of the 100 Days series. We've got some new videos coming on things like the most common mistakes that Tai Chi beginners make, what are the top 10 movements in Tai Chi, how to do some of the other movements from other styles, all kinds of new videos that are coming along. So make sure that you hit that bell so that you'll be notified when they are posted. And finally, if you haven't already done so, come on over to the website, taichifit.net. There's a little link to that in the bottom of the description down there. We've got all kinds of stuff. This coming week, we're doing a whole series, starting a whole new series of live interviews with really exciting people. We have some of the martial arts masters that I was recently in the great courses, Martial Arts for the Mind and Body. We also have somebody that I just had a chance to spend some time with, a man named Eyal Yanilov, who is the head of Krav Maga Global. Krav Maga, he's actually the man who made Krav Maga a system. He was the first student of the inventor of Krav Maga, Emi Lichtenfeld, and then Eyal was the one who wrote it all down and made it into a system. So he's going to be somebody that we interview soon. So come on over to the website, get signed up on the notifications, and try out some of the classes that we're doing over there. Anyway, that's all I've got for the day. Thank you so much for your time and your attention and your love and your support. I'll be seeing you in the next lesson. Be well.